What makes a tea impossible to replicate? Is it the leaf, the soil, the mountain, the person who makes it, or perhaps the way you brew it? With Wuyi Rock Tea, the answer is all five, because Wuyi Rock Tea isn't simply made in Wuyishan. It is shaped by Wuyishan. And to understand why, we need to look at 5 things that come together in one very particular place. The first is the most obvious and perhaps the most important, where the tea grows. In Wuyishan, we don't just talk about a mountain, we talk about incredibly small growing environments. Places such as Sān Kēng Liǎng Jiàn, specific caves, peaks, ravines, valleys. Each one can have its own combination of sunlight, shade, humidity, temperature, airflow, and water. And that means 2 tea gardens that are relatively close to each other can still produce tea with noticeably different character. It's the same reason wine lovers talk about terroir. But here, the idea becomes even more precise. The environment isn't simply where the tea grows. The environment becomes part of what the tea tastes like. But a mountain alone cannot make tea. You need the right tree, and that's our second factor, cultivar. Wuyishan has an extraordinary diversity of tea varieties, including famous Wuyi cultivars such as Dahongpao, Rugi, and Shuixian. Each cultivar has its own personality. One may lean floral, another may be spicy, another may be deeper and woodier. The cultivar influences how the leaf responds during processing, how it develops aroma, and what kind of flavor it can ultimately express. So yes, you can take a tea plant somewhere else, but you cannot take away the relationship between that plant and this particular landscape. Now look down, because the third factor is literally beneath our feet. The soil. Wuyi Rock Tea doesn't get its name from poetry alone. Its traditional growing environment is deeply connected to the rocky terrain of Wuyishan. The ground here is coarse, granular, and well-drained, not heavy, muddy earth. The Wuyi landscape is part of the broader Danxia geological world, shaped over millions of years by sedimentary rock, uplift, weathering, and erosion. Over time, that weathering creates a rocky layer around the roots of the tea plants. And this is important. Tea plants don't simply thrive because the soil is rich. They thrive in the particular conditions created by this rocky, mineral-rich, and well-drained environment. So when you taste what people describe as the distinctive rock character of Wuyi tea, you're tasting the result of an entire environment working together. The rock, the water, the air, the tree, and the climate. But here's where things become even more interesting, because nature only gets you halfway there. The rest is human skill. Wuyi Rock Tea is an oolong tea, and oolong sits in a fascinating middle ground, not minimally processed like green tea, not fully oxidized like black tea. Instead, the tea maker carefully controls the transformation of the leaf. And this isn't simply about following a timer. The tea maker has to read the leaf, look at it, smell it, feel it, judge how far it has developed, because every batch is slightly different. The weather changes, the leaves change, the cultivar changes, and the master has to respond. And then comes one of the most important stages of all, charcoal roasting, tanbei. This is where the tea is slowly transformed through heat. Roasting isn't simply about making the tea darker. It can fundamentally shape its aroma and flavor. And this is where experience matters. Temperature, time, moisture, the condition of the leaf, the desired character. The master has to balance all of it. Too much, and the roast can dominate. Too little, and the tea may not develop the depth you're looking for. So charcoal roasting isn't simply the final step. For traditional Wuyi Rock Tea, it is part of the tea's identity. And now comes the part most people forget. The tea isn't finished when the tea master finishes making it. It's finished when you brew it. Wuyi Rock Tea is closely associated with Gongfu style brewing. And here, the smallest details matter. The water, the temperature, the amount of leaf. The brewing time, the vessel, even the way the water enters the leaves. A high pour can agitate the leaves and help release their fragrance. And unlike a tea bag that gives you one straightforward cup, Wuyi Rock Tea is meant to keep evolving. The first infusion might open with fragrance, the next can reveal more body, another may bring sweetness, then the roasted notes, then the lingering finish. Same leaves, different infusion, different story. And now you can see why Wuyi Rock Tea is so difficult to replicate. It's not one secret. It's a chain. Place, plant, rock, craft, brewing.